All right, let's dive into something pretty different today. We're going to be looking at a crypto asset that's built on a pretty radical idea. I mean, forget what you know about infinite supply and tokens that just get printed into oblivion. This is all about deliberate, engineered scarcity. We are talking about eShare, what some are calling the sleeping giant of the EMP ecosystem.
So let's just start with this question. Just think about it for a sec. What if a token was specifically designed not to inflate, but to actually get rarer the more its ecosystem is used? That's the whole idea we're unpacking today, and believe me, it has some really powerful implications.
And that leads us right into the first big piece of this puzzle, the token itself, eShare, and its engineered scarcity. You're about to see why a term like extreme scarcity isn't just hype, it's literally baked into its DNA. Take a look at this number, roughly 55,000. Now, in the crypto world, where we're used to seeing tokens with supplies in the billions or even trillions, this is just an incredibly small number. This is about how many eShare tokens are even out there. So right from the start, it's built on a foundation of being rare. But it doesn't even stop there. The protocol is actually moving eShare to become a max supply token. And what that means is, that's it. The number you see is the number. No more eShare can ever be minted or created. Ever. The tap is being turned off for good. This makes it purely deflationary, which is a massive deal. And this is where a really crucial economic idea comes into play, a supply shock. That's what happens when the available supply of something suddenly dries up. If demand stays the same, or even better, if it goes up, the price can, reacts in a very dramatic way. With a supply this low that's now capped forever, you can see how the stage is being set. Okay, so scarcity is one half of the coin. What's the other? Well, you've got to have demand. Scarcity doesn't mean much without it. And this brings us to the first big engine inside the ecosystem that's designed to create constant, ongoing demand. It's called the Fusion Protocol. And here is the absolute key. In Fusion, eShare isn't just some random token you can earn. It is the one and only reward token for the entire staking system. So if you're in Fusion and you're earning yield, you are earning it in eShare, period. Right. That's the big question, isn't it? If they can't print new tokens out of thin air, because we just established that, where does the eShare come from to pay everyone? Well, the answer is actually pretty brilliant. And this is how it works. It's a beautiful little loop. First, every time someone buys or sells on the Fusion marketplace, a small fee is collected in ETH. Then, the protocol takes all that ETH it's collected, and it goes shopping. It automatically buys eShare right off the open market. And finally, that eShare it just bought is what gets paid out to the stakers as their rewards. This creates a constant automated cycle of buying pressure. So Fusion is constantly creating demand. But what about the supply that's already out there in people's wallets? How do you make that even more scarce? Well, that is the job of the second engine in this ecosystem. This one is designed to actively pull eShare off the market and lock it up, and it does it using something called real yield.
At the heart of this engine, you've got these things called DEX-FI bonds. Now, these bonds generate real yield. And what that means is they're earning profits from real economic activity, specifically fees from trades on decentralized exchanges. These profits come in as stablecoins, like USDC. This isn't made-up yield from printing tokens, this is actual cash flow. And that cash flow is the fuel for this next part.
That fuel powers a mechanism inside the Plasm protocol called buy and build. It's pretty cool. It takes those USDC profits and it goes shopping again. It buys two things, Plasm tokens and its biggest partner, eShare tokens. Then it pairs them together and locks them away in a liquidity pool. Think of it like a vault that helps other people trade, permanently. And the bottom line here is simple, but it is so powerful. That eShare, once it's locked in that pool, is effectively gone from the circulating supply. It can't be sold on the open market, so this machine is literally, systematically taking tokens out of play and making that supply squeeze we talked about even tighter. So let's put this all together, because this is where it gets really exciting. You have one engine constantly creating demand and another engine constantly reducing supply, and they're both running at the same time. This is how you get what's called an economic flywheel effect, a self-reinforcing cycle.
So on one side, you have engine number one, Fusion. Its marketplace is just chugging along, turning fees into market buys of eShare, making sure there's always demand.
And at the exact same time, you have engine number two, Plasm. It's taking real-world profits to pull eShare off the market and lock it away, systematically shrinking the available supply.
And this is the flywheel in action. It's a two-pronged attack. The fusion engine is creating what we call net positive buying pressure. It's always buying. Meanwhile, the plasma engine is creating that supply squeeze, making the token harder and harder to get. When you have these two powerful forces working together, well, you can imagine the potential effect on the value of eShare.
So just to recap the whole thing, you start with an asset, eShare, that has an incredibly low and now permanently fixed supply. You have one protocol, Fusion, that's programmed to constantly buy it. You have another protocol, Plasm, that's programmed to constantly lock it up. And together, they create this powerful, self-reinforcing economic flywheel. And that is exactly why people are calling eShare a potential sleeping giant.
Okay, now this is super important, so I have to be really clear. Nothing we've discussed today is financial advice, not a single word of it. This is simply an educational explainer, breaking down the mechanics of a protocol as they're described in the documents. The goal here is just to understand how it works, not to tell you what to do. So I'll just leave you with this one final thought to chew on. In this crazy world of DeFi where we're so used to tokens that can be printed endlessly with no limits, what really is the long-term potential of an ecosystem that dares to build itself around the complete opposite idea: intentional, sustainable, and totally engineered scarcity? It's a fascinating question for the future of this entire space.